So here with these two comments, I've found sort of the topic sentences within these paragraphs and also the deeper analysis that the writer is trying to say within this essay. And so with those two examples, I'm starting as a tutor to think about where the writer is embedding their analysis of the story. As we can see, it's actually at the end of the paragraphs as opposed to being topic sentences. And so they go into a lot of analysis and support of their claim, but they don't actually state the claim until the very end of the paragraph. And so that's something that I'm going to leave in my mind as I'm going through the session and thinking about those patterns that I'm noticing within the client's essay. And here I also wrote down these points. And so I want to start making the client aware of the fact that, hey, this is your topic sentence. This is what this paragraph is about. And you're putting it at the end when it should not only be at the top, but it's also the points that you want to mention within the above paragraph. At the end of this section, I'm actually going to make a comment that, of course, not all the time you'll have the ability to make, but The Yellow Wallpaper is actually one of my favorite short stories. And so what I'm noticing in this particular paper is that so far, the analysis is based off of I'll say, from the position that the story's main focus is on sexism, which it is. But I think a huge, huge thing that this client can actually consider is the fact that the heart of this story is actually postpartum depression. And so with that in mind, that sort of playing in tandem with the societal sexism that is also heavily apparent within this particular story. I think with those two things in mind, it'll letting the client know about that point and about sort of the heart of The Yellow Wallpaper outside of sexism. I think that will actually help the client in how they approach their analysis. And so within this line, they talked about it a bit, but I'm actually going to go down here within this commentary, and I'm going to leave that comment there. This is just some food for thought for the client. And I'm also, within my comments, I'm also making it very clear that I'm not trying to change or deny or anything like that, because the analysis so far is actually pretty good in what they're wanting to focus on within the story. And I think that this commentary will just add a little more dynamism, at least into their thinking of how each of these different things come to play within this text. I'm going to highlight this part. It's not quite the topic sentence. I'm just going to make them aware that that's sort of the heart of this paragraph. Okay, so see, this topic sentence is actually the same as this paragraph, as what this paragraph is supporting. And so I'm going to continue to read and see what new information they have in here, just to see if it's in fact the same topic. Yeah, this paragraph sort of sets us up for this one's analysis. This analysis is definitely a bit deeper and more authoritative than this one. Like, we're sort of tiptoeing around the main argument here, but in this one, the writer, who is our client, is setting stone what their analysis is. And so I'm going to make a comment of that as well. I'll make that comment here. Yeah, these two paragraphs are definitely the same because they're both about that third quoted paragraph. Okay, and so as I'm wrapping up, and now we see that they're leaving space for further discussion and then for their conclusion. And we know that from their client report form, or their client appointment form, we know that their biggest concern was their conclusion. And so we'll make comments within our last sort of wrap up paragraph for them. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I like to keep sort of a pre-written little bit to start off my feedback paragraph for my clients, just to save time as I'm doing these sessions back to back. So this is sort of how I structure my ending paragraph notes to the clients. And for me, this same paragraph is what I'm actually going to copy into the client report form. Because a lot of clients, sometimes they'll open up the report form, get the email, open up the report form and miss one of those spaces. Either they won't read the email and will go straight to their document, or they'll miss something along the lines. And so it's always good practice to just have that paragraph be the same thing in both places. That way they see it multiple times. And so just to talk a little bit about what I wrote within my final commentary, I let them know where I made comments within the essay. This is also a great place to let your clients know how much of their work you read over. With this particular session, because it was an hour, I had a lot of time to read through the document since it wasn't that long, but you will have clients that want you to read over their 26-page dissertation in 30 minutes. And of course, you cannot do that. And so this is the space where you'll write that commentary and you'll let them know I made comments on the first 2 pages or on the first 3 pages, however you decide to break up that session. You can just let them know right in that opening paragraph. And then what I did for this one, because I recognized that this client will definitely have to go and do a lot of restructuring of this essay, I made sure that I wrote out how I am envisioning their next steps. Your client will greatly appreciate you setting out what they can do next. This is when the teacher hat comes on. So in this particular client, I talked about the thesis statement, told them what it was, told them how they're going to write it, and I also showed them where I found topic sentences, which can be a guide for them in how they think about what their topic sentences are, what they can look like, and what they're used for. And then remember, one of their concerns was writing that conclusion, and so to end that note, I let them know that after they do the introduction and the body, that conclusion is going to just be a wrap up. It's just going to be something easy and simple and concise that they can write after the fact. But I definitely would want this client to focus on restructuring their analysis, because as we saw, the analysis was there, it was clear, it was just embedded within the document, and there weren't clear statements for what the client was trying to say within their analysis. And so to end this session, I'll copy this. I'll make sure I save this document, and I'll copy my notes. Okay, so this one has timed me out. Not a problem, because we'll have our writing lab up and running. Just log back in. So you're going to add a new document, online session. We'll do analysis. Because there's so many different structural things, you can select as many things as you want. I usually just, because I've written so much in the feedback paragraph, I'll just write other. And then so here, you'll see it's the same paragraph that I'm putting in my note to the client, which they'll see the note first. And so you make sure you click client student. Make sure that you make this visible. This is very, very important, because if you don't make it visible, then within this session, because it's this particular type of session, they won't see the commentary that you made. And so you want to make sure that you have that visibility set. I leave my client documents within my downloads folder. And so this particular client's things pops up first. So you do that, save, and now the session is over. Thank you all so much for watching this session. I hope that this was helpful and that you all are able to get a stronger idea of the types of comments and feedbacks that you can give to the clients. Thank you.